The Civil Rights era was a social movement in the United States from 1954 to 1968. Its aim was to abolish legal segregation, discrimination, and disenfranchisement that mostly impacted Black Americans. I will cover both civil rights figures and events over the next two videos. But in this video, I desire to show a significant reason for the lack of understanding of the plight of Blacks in America. In 2011, NPR, which is National Public Radio, released an article about a study they conducted on how much American schools were teaching about civil rights. I did a search for a recent study on the subject, but I was unable to identify one. In the article, it says that the Southern Poverty Law Center cites that the education about the civil rights movement in the United States is dismal. Their study assigned 35 states the grade of an F, and only 3 states, Alabama, New York, and Florida, received the grade of an A. Rather than recognizing the national significance of the civil rights movement, most states see it as a regional matter and a topic of interest mainly for Black students. 9 of the 12 highest scoring states are former Confederate states, but they are joined by Illinois, Maryland, and New York. Generally speaking, the further away from the South and the smaller the Black population, the least amount of attention is paid to the civil rights movement. I love the analogy that the article gave. The article wrote, imagine if children from Texas, California, and Minnesota were exempt from lessons on the American Revolution, or if students from Alaska, Hawaii, and Montana got a pass on the Civil War. We all recognize that the American Revolution and the Civil War were critical events in the growth of our nation and important enough for all students to study. It's time to recognize that the Civil Rights Movement, too, was one of those critical events that defines us as a nation. The Civil Rights Movement can serve as a reminder of how a self-governing nation can, if they choose, act collectively to correct a grave injustice. I have had the privilege of traveling all across the country, as well as overseas. In reference to the continental United States, I have been to 47 out of the 50 states, and I find it amazing that no matter where I go or who I talk to, male, female, white, Black, or different nationality, young or old, of how many people don't know basic things about Black history or civil rights. This study, when I looked it up, clearly gave me an eye-opener, and maybe you too, on why we have a grave misunderstanding about the plight of Blacks in America. The study clearly shows the lack of comprehensive study on the subject all across the country. The misconception of focus here is that many states see the civil rights movement as a regional issue and a primary focus only for Black people. And we wonder why people make such statements as, well, why do we have to have Black history anyway? My answer, because of your lack of knowledge of our fact-based experiences that we've been sharing with you while unlocking Black history. A good book to add to your Black history library is The Color of Law by Richard Rothstein. Before we wrap up today, I want to make sure you don't miss this opportunity. The stories we've covered are just the beginning. At unlockingblackhistory.com, you can dive deeper with our free community, exclusive content, and a workbook designed to help you reflect and grow. Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss the next chapter. I'll see you at the next video.